Former WWE superstar Sasha Banks, now known as Mercedes Mone, has officially made her New Japan Pro Wrestling debut, but the question now is, will she sign with All Elite Wrestling? Those within WWE are under the impression that the former WWE superstar will not sign for AEW and will at some point return to the company. However, her departure from the company is now official, and we have an update on her former Women's Tag Team Championship partner Naomi. Speaking of New Japan Pro Wrestling, Jay White could be set to leave the company. Could he sign with WWE? The FTC puts a huge new rule in regarding non-compete clauses that could change the face of free agency and professional wrestling. Money in the Bank is headed to the United Kingdom. We have the ratings for this week's edition of Monday Night Raw. William Regal officially returns to WWE. Bobby Lashley could be reuniting with the Hurt Business. Alexa Bliss is once again officially a heel after snapping this past week on Raw. And we have the ratings for this week's edition of NXT. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of world wrestling entertainment, and Sasha Banks, Mercedes Mone, is dominating the conversation of the pro wrestling world at the moment, with speculation about will she sign with AEW, won't she sign with AEW, she's made her New Japan Pro Wrestling debut, what's going on? We kind of discussed this in today's AEW news video, but now we have an update from WWE's point of view, and it's certainly very, very interesting. Now, again, after making her New Japan Pro Wrestling debut inside the Tokyo Dome on Wednesday, January 4th, there was some speculation that next week on January 11th, she would be the mystery tag team partner for Saraya in AEW on Dynamite from the Kia Forum in Los Angeles, California. However, last night on Dynamite, it was revealed by Saraya that the tag team partner she would be partnering next week would actually be Toni Storm. Now, Dave Meltzer then went on the Wrestling Observer radio show today and explained the decision, saying, quote, "I have heard denials from AEW. People in the match, they knew that it was really screwed because that's why they had to announce somebody this week, because they knew it was really screwed because everyone was thinking it's her and it wasn't her." Meltzer would also reveal the stance from WWE sources, which is the key thing from WWE's perspective, saying, quote, "I also know from WWE that they are very strongly under the impression that she will not wrestle for AEW. They think she's coming back at some point and she'll get this out of her system. She'll do her New Japan matches because she's only contracted for a couple of matches and then come back." With Mone proving to be a valuable asset to either company, Meltzer continued saying, quote, "But if she's going to AEW, she's going to have to sign for 3 years minimum. For AEW, it would be really stupid to put her on TV if she's going back in 6 months. I don't know that she wants to make that commitment that she can't go back." He would conclude by comparing the longer-term expectations of AEW and potentially WWE with what she has of New Japan, saying, quote, "With New Japan for a short-term deal for just a couple of dates, yes, she can go back at the end of the deal. When it comes to AEW, a deal for a couple of years, she can't go back for a couple of years. That's the impression. What will happen? I just know that everyone was pretty over in Japan and everything. Everybody was pretty much saying this is a New Japan deal, not an AEW deal." And once again, he said that he doesn't think that she's going to be going to AEW. Now, when it comes to her WWE departure, she is officially out of the company, it would appear. Whilst WWE sources and whilst people within WWE can be under the impression that she's not going to sign with AEW, she has officially left the company, World Wrestling Entertainment. Mercedes Venado, now known as Sasha Banks, has been a free agent since January 1st, 2023. Of course, Sasha and WWE agreed to end their contract last summer after her and Naomi walked out on the May 16, 2022 episode of Monday Night Raw. Sasha, now using the name Mercedes Mone, made her New Japan debut at Wrestle Kingdom 17 on Wednesday, seemingly confirming that she was indeed out of the company. New Japan added Mercedes to their official roster page on their website following Wrestle Kingdom, but she was at the time still listed on WWE's roster page, which everyone kept saying, she's still on WWE's roster page, or she's on the WWE app. Well, now we can stop talking about that because WWE has officially confirmed that Sasha is no longer with the company, quietly moving her over to the alumni section of the roster. Now, as of right now, Naomi, her former Women's Tag Team Championship partner, is still listed as part of the WWE roster, seemingly confirming that she is still under contract with WWE. As I mentioned, there have been these conflicting reports about Mercedes' AEW status or possibly a return to WWE. But as I mentioned, we do have an update on Naomi because Naomi remains still listed on the WWE roster page on the website, seemingly implying that she is still under contract with the company. WWE removing Banks' profile but leaving Naomi's listed would heavily imply that she is indeed headed back to WWE at some point. So that's what we do kind of know when it comes to Banks and Naomi, is that they have confirmed that she's gone, but Naomi could be coming back. As far as what Meltzer has said about AEW today, I've seen a lot of reaction to that on social media, and as I'm recording this right now, there is still a lot of people sort of debating that, and Meltzer himself has kind of backtracked on that, because if you watch the video from Wrestling Observer Radio, and I recommend you do, basically Brian Alvarez states it off by saying, I haven't heard anything. I don't know either way if Mercedes Mone is going to make her All Elite Wrestling debut next week. And to his point, he says, well, Britt Baker in the promo on Dynamite says, I'm the boss, and winks at the camera. Basically, a nod and a wink, Mercedes Mone is going to show up next week. But then Dave Meltzer goes really, really strong, saying, I've spoken to people in the match, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure those people in the match don't want the world knowing they're talking to Dave Meltzer. Confidential sources and everything, Dave. But he's saying, no, they're denying that she's part of the match. But what are they going to say? Yes, she is. It's Mercedes Mone. Type it up in the Observer. No, of course they're not. Of course they're going to deny it. Of course, it's called kayfabe for a reason. Of all people, Dave Meltzer doesn't know what kayfabe is? Ridiculous. And then he's saying, well, those within WWE are under the impression she's never going to wrestle for AEW. Well, at the same time, those within WWE, it was actively reported just a few days ago by Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select. Those within WWE were still under the impression she was going to be back for the Royal Rumble as of like a month ago. So they're not to know. They wouldn't know anyway. Those on the writing team said, oh, we thought we were going to have her back for the Rumble or by the end of January. Well, that's definitely not going to happen at the moment unless WWE and New Japan have come together for some kind of deal. And by the way that Carl Anson was presented at Wrestle Kingdom, I wouldn't think that's the case. That was just a goodwill gesture by WWE so that Anson could honor his commitments with the company. So there isn't any working relationship going on there. So I think that, again, with Meltzer saying, well, those within WWE think she's going to come back eventually, I'm sure they do, because everyone does come back eventually. But at the same time, this was the same group of people that a few weeks ago thought she was going to be in the Rumble. And she clearly is not going to be in the Rumble. These were the same group of people that a couple months prior to that were saying, she's definitely going to come back. It's just ironing out those final details. That was the information that we were being given and being put out there by the likes of Meltzer. So for Meltzer to be so hard on the record and say, no, I don't think she's going to AEW, I doubt it. I doubt, unless he's heard that from Tony Khan himself, which is a possibility, then I would say no. But if he's not hearing anything, I think he's assuming. And what he said on social media today is, well, I've sort of just said that I'm guessing, because he realizes actually if and maybe when Mercedes Mone shows up next week, he could look a bit silly. So he's already got to get in the, well, it was just sort of speculation on my part. But again, this is the important thing when it comes to Dave Meltzer. People have to differentiate him reporting and him giving his opinion. The problem is he makes it difficult to do so. So you let me know what you think. Is Mercedes Mone going to AEW? Is she just staying in New Japan? Is she going to be back in WWE this year? Those within WWE think that might be the case. You let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What about Naomi? Is Naomi heading back to WWE? What it would appear so far is that she's still under contract. As to if she's going to be coming back, we don't know. But what we do know is that she's still listed on the roster page. One name that could be coming in, speaking of New Japan Pro Wrestling, is Jay White. A top New Japan Pro Wrestling star could be leaving the company after a former champion issued a challenge for a loser leaves Japan match, having lost the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship at New Japan Wrestle Kingdom 17. Jay White wasted no time in blaming Hikuleo at New Japan's New Year Dash on January 5th. White would be back in action with his Bullet Club brethren Kenta, El Phantasmo, and Taji Ishimori, taking on Hiroshi Tanahashi, Hikuleo, Tamatonga, and Master Wato. With the match seeing the Bullet Club lose by DQ after El Phantasmo struck Tamatonga with the Never Openweight Championship, White floored Hikuleo with a flurry of chair shots. standing over his fallen comrade. White blamed Hikuleo for the loss to Okada at Wrestle Kingdom 17 and promised to take everything from the man. It was at this point that White would issue a loser leaves Japan match. The announcement sent social media into overdrive, with some speculation that Jay White's time in New Japan could be coming to an end, considering what his future options could be. With Gallows and Anderson currently in WWE along with AJ Styles and Finn Balor, many are speculating he could be headed towards WWE. He also has made appearances in AEW, inside of an AEW ring, whilst representing New Japan, so anything's possible. I would suspect we're probably going to get an update on this soon, so watch this space. Of course, if we get that update, we'll let you know here on the channel. Now, this could be one of the biggest stories in pro wrestling of 2023. I know we're coming off the back of a major news year in 2022 that rocked professional wrestling in a variety of ways, but certainly this could change the face of free agency in pro wrestling. If the Federal Trade Commission has its way, professional wrestling may need to make some major changes. On Thursday, the FTC proposed a rule that would limit an employer's ability to stop their employee working for a rival or competitor, benefiting workers and certainly creating an extra layer of intrigue for fans of the top wrestling promotions. The rule takes aim at non-compete clauses and provisions, outright banning them. As far as how this connects to wrestling, quote, the proposal covers not just employees, but independent contractors, interns, volunteers, and other workers, per the New York Times. That's the key thing there, independent contractors, because you may have initially said employees. There ain't many employees in pro wrestling. There are a lot of independent contractors. Now, wrestlers have long been classified as independent contractors, and those who have signed deals with WWE and AEW in particular have been limited in their movements in the industry due to those clauses once their time with the promotion came to an end. Quote, non-compete blocks workers from freely switching jobs, depriving them of higher wages and better working conditions, and depriving businesses of a talent pool that they need to build and expand, added FTC agency chair Lena Khan. By ending this practice, the FTC's proposed rule would promote greater dynamism, innovation, and healthy competition. Now, 90-day non-compete clauses have been a staple of contracts for members of the WWE main roster. For those under NXT or developmental contracts, their clauses typically cover 30 days. However, with the complete removal of non-compete agreements from the equations, talent could conceivably show up in another promotion or another wrestling show immediately if they were released or chose to let their contracts expire. For example, someone like Mandy Rose would have the ability to appear for AEW after being released by WWE with zero wait whatsoever. This also benefits the fans, who no longer have to wait extended periods of time for some of their favorite wrestlers to resurface. Now, I say it could be the biggest story, or one of the biggest stories in pro wrestling in 2023, because as these things get banned or removed, companies find other ways to kind of replace them and have the same kind of thing there. It's a proposition at the moment, so that's something to consider too. And it might just mean that big companies like WWE say, well, we're just not going to release talent then. We'll wait till their contracts expire, or we'll find some other way around it. So there are still other things to consider here. It hasn't gone through yet, and again, there are other things in place, so we'll have to wait and see. But certainly, it could be massive and real good news for independent contractors in pro wrestling. This is a story close to my heart, of course, because following the success of Clash at the Castle, WWE has announced that the annual Money in the Bank premium live event will emanate from London, England in 2023. This will mark the first time in history that the show has taken place overseas, with the event set to happen on Saturday, July 1st at the O2 Arena, which is a location WWE often uses when they tour England, whether it's for live events or Raw and SmackDown tapings. The news comes off the back of a very successful premium live event in Wales last year, which ended up breaking several records for the company, including becoming the most watched international show in WWE history, and it brought the largest European gate ever for the WWE. It was also the best-selling event from a merchandise perspective for a non-WrestleMania show, with 62,269 fans filling the Principality Stadium that night as Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre headlined the show. Last year at Money in the Bank, it was Liv Morgan and Austin Theory who managed to capture the briefcases. They had mixed success when it came points cashing them in. Of course, Morgan did successfully. Austin Theory did not. This would be the first time there's been a WWE Premium Live event in England's capital in over 2 decades. The last one being WWE Insurrection, which took place at Wembley Arena on May 4th, 2002, which was part of these shows they would air exclusively in the UK. Insurrection, Rebellion, etc. They were on Sky Box Office at the time. But massive news. I'm going to do my best to see if I can make it there. I hope I can. It's the biggest show, I would think, since SummerSlam, because it's a big intellectual property. Of course, it won't have as many fans there as the Principality Stadium. It had over 60,000 fans. The O2, I think, it's about 20,000, but they'll sell out immediately. And I just hope it's the continuation of more pay-per-view events coming here, because WWE has the money from Peacock immediately. They don't have to really care that much about buy rates and about time zones and that kind of stuff. Things have changed when it comes to international events, which is fantastic. So more countries around the world, not just here in the UK, but around the world, can have these international premium live events, and that's fantastic to see. So very excited for that. We have the ratings for this week's edition of Monday Night Raw, and following record low ratings from its best of 2022 edition of Raw on December 26, WWE experienced a solid bounce back this past Monday night. According to data shared by WrestleNomics, the show drew 1.605 million viewers on average, with roughly 539,000 coming from the key demographic of adults aged 18 to 49, good for a 0.41 rating. Compared to the Raw the week before, the best of edition, however, it is down from 1.705 million viewers on average, and a slight decrease in the 18 to 49 demo, which covered 557,000 viewers for that episode. That said, the show was up nearly 50% in total viewership from last week, as well as 53% among viewers in the 18 to 49 demographic. Obviously, again, when it comes to the ranking, it was 11th in the cable originals. And when it came to broadcast primetime television, Raw fell to 18th. The Rose Bowl averaged 10.2 million viewers overall, while Monday Night Football averaged 23.8 million across 3 networks, despite a run time of under 2 hours. Of course, we know for the reasons for that. Prayers and thoughts go out to all of those affected with that. It's fantastic. I have seen the huge amount of donations to the charity as well, so I think that's fantastic as well. But Raw back to ratings they would expect. Still a bit low, on the lower side for Raw, and I think they'll be hoping as we head towards Royal Rumble and WrestleMania season that they will increase. William Regal is officially back in AEW after his WWE, could you imagine? After his AEW departure near the end of 2022, former NXT on-screen general manager William Regal has returned to WWE, according to a report from PW Insider. It was all but confirmed in early December that Regal was bound for NXT, as AEW and Ring of Honor owner Tony Khan stated that Regal asked for his release in order to work with his son. Regal's son, who is known professionally as Charlie Dempsey, is currently signed to WWE and competes on NXT. Regal was previously employed by WWE for a number of years, up until he was let go this time last year, apparently due to budget cuts. However, he then went to AEW. He then left, as I mentioned, at the end of the year, asking Tony Khan not to renew his contract, as he wanted to go and be with his son and teach his son in his golden years. And that's exactly what Tony Khan allowed him to do. And now William Regal is officially back. Big changes could be coming to Bobby Lashley's character in the future. Might MVP putting the Hurt Business back together soon? The popular stable, comprised of Bobby Lashley, Cedric Alexander, and Shelton Benjamin, under the tutelage of MVP, disbanded in January of last year. Alexander and Benjamin would continue on as a team under the name for a few more months. However, there are indications that a reunion is in the works. PW Insider reports that discussions have picked up about turning Bobby Lashley heel fairly soon, as evidenced by some of his behavior lately on Raw. Pair that with the scene of MVP chatting backstage with Alexander and Benjamin on Raw this week, and now you have both a new direction for the Almighty and another powerful faction in the WWE landscape. Of course, a lot of people were very unhappy that they were broken up in the first place. They shouldn't have been on the road to it was WrestleMania at the time, wasn't it? In 2022, it was 2021 rather. It was, I think it was 2022. It was 2021. So yes, it would be fantastic news for the Hurt Business to be put back together, certainly, and expect it possibly to happen in the future. Speaking of heel turns, Alexa Bliss is now officially a heel, according to a new report from PW Insider's Mike Johnson on PW Insider Elite. The 5-time women's champion is expected to play a heel going forward after weeks of teasing her conflicted personality. WWE has heavily teased Bliss turning heel in recent weeks, with several references to her former alliance with Bray Wyatt, who returned to the company in October. Bliss and Wyatt were aligned throughout 2020 and early 2021 before she turned on him at WrestleMania 37. Bliss first teased her impending heel turn after a #1 contendership match in mid-December, when she appeared to instantly change personalities once WWE's Titantron quickly flashed Wyatt's logo. She shockingly spun the Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair into Wyatt's sister Abigail finisher before releasing the champion and walking away from the interaction confused and visibly upset. Bliss later tried to explain herself on next week's episode, but her temperament quickly changed once again after the screen flashed Wyatt's logo and she smashed a glass vase over Belair's head. This past Monday night, Bliss appeared to go full-blown heel, and she was distracted later on in the title match by two unidentified members of the crowd wearing Wyatt's Uncle Howdy masks. She grew distraught when the WWE Titantron flashed Wyatt's logo, and she began attacking the referee and Belair, leaving her bloody on the outside of the ring. Johnson reported on Tuesday that Bliss is, quote, a heel 100% going forward. Whether they tease that she doesn't know if she's good or evil, or if she's being manipulated by the Butterfly or the Moth, or Bray Wyatt or Uncle Howdy or whatever, Alexa Bliss is a heel going forward, said Johnson. So Bliss is a heel on the red brand. Finally, we have the ratings for this week's edition of NXT, and viewership for the January 3rd edition of NXT is in. According to Showbuzz Daily, NXT on January 3rd, 2023 drew 653,000 viewers. This number is up big from the 588,000 viewers of the show that tuned in last week. The number is also on par with recent weeks of NXT viewership. The show recorded a 0.16 rating in the 18 to 49 key demographic, which is up from the 0.12 rating that the show drew the previous Tuesday. NXT ranked number 31 for the day in cable originals too. So again, they'll be happy that it's on par with their recent kind of numbers. But there you go, guys. It's the latest WWE news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Let me know your thoughts on today's WWE news stories in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.